Hey everyone, this is George from the Race Space podcast, and today I have Yancy Culp, who's DEKA's co-creator and director of sport. This is, if not one of the fun interviews that I've recently had in a very long time. And guys, DEKA is the decathlon of functional fitness. Now, if you're a fitness enthusiast, if you're a sports person, or if you're a business owner, you definitely need to check out DEKA. Now, in this particular episode, Yancy did talk about how he got into fitness and how he met Joe De Sena at the 72-hour death race. He also went ahead and explained what is DEKA, the history of DEKA, the current and the future state of DEKA. He also explained the different types of DEKA events, that is DEKA Strong, DEKA Mile, and DEKA Fit. And guys, if you're a gym owner, if you're a fitness freak, a fitness athlete, you definitely need to check out DEKA affiliate program. And in this particular episode, guys, Yancy clearly explained what is the DEKA affiliate program and what is the role that Spartan does in order for you to put up great events. And guys, to be honest, what I really liked in this entire podcast is the general theme, the way he was talking, his enthusiasm. And guys, to be honest, I was really blown away by his enthusiasm when he was talking about fitness. You can clearly tell that he does want to make an impact in this world, and he's doing that by fitness. And one thing which I really liked, he said that fitness is one of the strongest drugs. Now, what really stood out for me is when he talks about fitness, Yancy talks as though he's celebrating fitness, and this, guys, is such a beautiful learning. And Yancy has over 3 decades of experience in the fitness industry. And Yancy does come from an obstacle course race background, so he did give some really sound advice for you athletes who are only into obstacle course race. And why is it that you should try the DEKA event? And if you're someone from Dubai, UAE, and Middle East, Desert Shield Fitness, the first obstacle course race community from Abu Dhabi, they are the first affiliate of DEKA. They are having the first DEKA event on the 15th of April, so definitely make sure that you sign up for this event. And Yancy did give some really sound advice for race directors, particularly for Desert Shield Fitness and other race directors who would want to be affiliates of DEKA in the near future. But what I'd really recommend you to do is look at the show notes below. You'll get all the details for Yancy. You'll get all the details for the affiliate program. And in this episode, he also explained the business revenue model. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And he did give some really sound advice, particularly for other businesses working in the fitness industry. And once again, guys, the core message that I was getting from him is to celebrate fitness. And guys, when I was talking to him, I got this feeling that he genuinely wants to help people. And we also discussed the goal of Spartan to get 100 million people off the couch and lead a better life. And look, guys, Yancy is also a third generation athlete. So towards the end, I did ask him some really interesting questions, which had to do about his running background. And we also discussed his genre of music. And his genre of music is something which a lot of them like, particularly sprinters and runners. So definitely check it out. And guys, if you do have any feedback or suggestions, mention them in the comments below. And all the details for Yancy, his Instagram profile, the affiliate form, and all the details of Spartan DEKA is in the show notes below. So check it out and let me know what your thoughts are. Firstly, Yancy, thank you so very much for doing this. Really appreciate you taking your time on a Tuesday, because lately what's happening is Monday is no longer the hated day of the week. Tuesday is kind of like the Monday, and it's the most busiest day of the week. So thank you so very much for taking your time and doing this podcast. Really appreciate it. Now, how has 2023 been for you so far?
2023 has been amazing. We're wrapping up February today, and looking back at 2020, 21, and 22 for DEKA, I'll be honest, and I mean this in all the best ways. DEKA has completely consumed me. It's a vision and a movement that grabs my heart and mind every single day. And I would say January, February of 2023, we're better off than we've ever been. So with DEKA consuming me and trying to find balance with my family and everything else that I do in my life, 2023 is kicked off really nice. We've made some amazing adjustments with the DEKA brand that have really made it even more all-inclusive. I'm sure we can talk about that. But 23 is amazing, man. It's just, I'm not one to say, hey, we're going to have some New Year's resolutions. I don't like that. I don't like that the year starts coming to an end and we really indulge in November, December, and we're just going to hit the reset button in January. I think that's kind of a roller coaster ride, and that's not a good roller coaster to be on. It's like, why can't March 1 be the same as January 1. It's like, what are we doing to stay consistent throughout the year? And really and truly, some of the building blocks of DEKA play a role there. And I'm really excited to dive in on all things DEKA, man. So more people in your neck of the woods, like we say here in Texas, can learn about this brand that's really taken off in the United States and really starting to kind of grow across the world.
Absolutely, and I'm not sure if you've seen the news lately. Dubai, we also have the Gulf Games, and a lot of the athletes from DEKA, that is Ryan Kent, the former champ, I think he's just landed to Dubai earlier today or last night.
Oh, I'm freaking fired up about this. We've got the Colorado team with Jack Bauer, an athlete I've worked with for a long time. From a coaching perspective, Ryan Kent, we've collaborated a lot together over the years from coaching and athlete perspective. You got VJ, you got Chris Roglowski, Rich Ryan. That Colorado team is strong. It's stacked.
It's going to be really tough because, some of the teams in UAE, some of them do actually include the former Spartan world champion as well. Let's wait and see how this weekend turns out to be.
Absolutely.
Now, can you tell our listeners a brief introduction about yourself and how did you get into the fitness? Because I do believe that you met Joe De Sena over a decade ago, and you are one of the guys who actually did complete the death race. And right now, you're DEKA's co-creator and director of sports. So for you people in this part of the world, the land of the gazelle, can you tell our listeners about yourself? And to be honest, Yancy, I was listening to your podcast with April Lauren. I think it is absolutely beautiful. And we'll definitely get into that later on.
And you touched me emotionally there. My dad and I write poetry. And when you said the land of the gazelle, my dad wrote a poem that's unbelievable. It makes me cry every time I see it. And it talks about searching for inner strength. And when you seek inner strength, think of the gazelle, not the lion. The one being chased. The one being chased sometimes is the one that has that amazing inner strength. So I'll maybe before the podcast's over, I'll grab my dad's poem and we'll read through that. Well, that could be you want to see me cry on camera.
And one of the questions, after listening to April Lauren's podcast is something to do. You and your dad and even your grandfather, but that is something which I'll ask probably towards the later part of the episode.
As you asked about fitness, it's so much we're a product of our upbringing, and fitness was plugged into my life. Fitness and work ethic, I should say. Early on, it wasn't all about just competing. It was a lot of hard work. I learned the value of hard work. And, David Goggins says you got to recertify every day. And we, growing up on a farm in the middle of Texas, we recertified every day. My sister and I knew the value of hard. We knew how to work hard. We were encouraged, never forced, but encouraged to play team sports in general. Went to a small school, competed in everything, was blessed enough to get a track scholarship, University of North Texas, spent 4 years in the Navy. I've never gone more than probably 2 or 3 days from the age of 5th or 6th grade without organized, purposeful fitness in my life. And that's just, so I do take time off sometimes, but it's just always in my life. And that includes today. I start to get a little stir crazy if I go more than a day or two without some type of organized, purposeful fitness where I'm training for something. We'll talk about that more, about the power of keeping something on the calendar is unbelievable when it comes to exercise adherence and consistency. You mentioned Joe. That's a true story. I had been racing Spartan since 2011. I did my first race here in Texas, did the first Ultra Beast in Clinton, Vermont, 2012. 2013, 10 years ago, I met Joe De Sena at his Spartan death race on his 900 acres in Pittsfield, Vermont, the original home of Spartan. I'm 20, 30 hours into this grueling battle, this grueling race that Joe and team put on. And Joe and I find ourselves talking business on the side of his mountain up at Trek's cabin. I'm looking pretty beat up and tattered when we're talking business. And that's my, here, I'll grab the skull real quick. You talk about a cheap piece of plastic. This skull was an absolute game changer. Are we on audio and video?
Just audio.
Just audio.
Just audio, yeah.
Well, what I'm for all the listeners, what I'm showing is my Spartan death race finisher skull. It's just a simple plastic skull. It's a little evil looking. Joe signed it. Says DR Finisher. That's you talk about pre-certified, checking the box. That's the hardest thing I've ever done mentally and physically, but it was unbelievably rewarding. So that's how I met Joe. We've been collaborating on fitness and business and life ever since, and it's been a wonderful, it's a wonderful experience. Joe, I always say, after Joe was born, they took the mold and they threw it off the highest cliff in the world, and that mold was shattered. You're not going to ever create another one like him. He's a very unique man, very unique human in so many ways, and the world is blessed to have him. I always say that movements like Spartan and even CrossFit and other movements where they were just maniacally focused about, a lot of those type of movements are responsible for creating some of the largest fitness movements the world's ever seen. And Joe is maniacally focused on, and that's what we want to do with DEKA as well. Joe is maniacally focused on serving the entire human race with the power of fitness. I say all the time, it's fitness changes and saves lives every single day. It's the greatest drug on planet Earth. It's an amazing addiction. It's one of those healthy addictions when you consistently work it in. I've started businesses. Some of the greatest ideas. I'm a better husband, a better wife. A better father, a better community leader. Everything in my life's better when I have fitness in there. And Joe's trying to serve the human race with that. That's a beautiful mission, and he really he's passionate about it. So yeah, that's how I met Joe. That's kind of my quick background on fitness. I just I was blessed with decent athleticism, genetics, and but mainly I just love fitness for just the feeling that I get. That drug we talk about, I can't imagine not having fitness in my life. If something happened, let's say I had a bad knee or a bad hip, all I would do is shift. I would find maybe I would get into rowing, or maybe I would get into some other level of competing and something that I could train for that would work for me. It doesn't matter. In most cases, I should say, there's always there's just about something for everybody. And really and true, that was one of our key reasons why we developed DEKA the way we did, because we wanted to truly vaporize all barriers of entry and provide that avenue to enjoy fitness for everybody.
That is absolutely brilliant. And some of the things that you touched upon, I think is absolutely fantastic, because even Tony Robbins, he often talks about, the importance of fitness and how it helps business entrepreneurs as well. And I'm not sure if you know about Dubai as a city. Every year, we have this thing called Dubai Fitness Challenge, where they encourage every citizen to do some kind of physical activity for at least 30 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wouldn't be surprised that right now, if Dubai is the fittest city on earth right now.
I love that. I would love to get the entire city of Dubai to earn their DEKA Fire score. That's our lowest barrier of entry DEKA test. It's a body weight test. I don't know if you've heard of it. You can find it at our website, DEKA.fit. And I've got a great informational video where I kind of walk you down through each zone, but it allows, like right now, let's say we snap our fingers and everybody in Dubai tests. All you need is your body weight in a 5-meter space and a timing device, and every single person on planet Earth, just about every person on planet Earth, can step up to the Spartan start line today, right now. If you're listening to this podcast, go to DEKA.fit when it's over, and you can do DEKA Fire. That's our lowest barrier of entry, like I said, and you can do your very first Spartan race. We call it DEKA Fire. It's a great test. It takes people anywhere from 5 to 15, 20 minutes. 15, 20 minutes if you're not super fit, but and super low barrier of entry and great test for everybody.
Absolutely. So what I'll do is, the show notes, I'll definitely go ahead and put in that link so that, I'm pretty much sure listeners will definitely want to try it. But the big question, Yancy, what is DEKA? And can you tell our listeners, where did the name DEKA generate from as well?
So DEKA, what is DEKA? Well, DEKA means 10 in Greek. You've heard of the decathlon. You'll see it spelled DECA or DEKA for the decathlon. There's 10 events. We chose DEKA, and all of our events, our formal tests have 10 zones. And it's DEKA. And but what is DEKA and the why is the big question here that I love talking about. It really fires me up. I was sitting in Joe De Sena's kitchen in Pittsburgh, Vermont back in late 2019, and we were talking about how we pulled 10 million plus people off the couch with the mud and the barbed wire and the obstacles and the sides of mountains and the grit. And I said, what if we had a fitness test that was for the masses a much lower barrier of entry, but would also be a very grueling test for the cyborgs out there. We talked about in the intro, the Ryan Kents and the Rylan Shadegs and the Chris Roglowskis and those types of Warren Weeks and whatnot that are true. We call them DEKA cyborgs. It would be challenging for them because they're going to hit it at a zone 5 red line, just turn themselves inside out. So we love to say, and Joe and I were talking about in the same arena on the same day using the exact same standards, could we have a test that was designed for everyone? I like to say if you can walk and breathe, there's a really, really good chance you've got everything you need to pass DEKA, to complete your DEKA if you can walk and breathe for the most part. We've had 850 events approximately across the U.S., Canada, the U.K., the UAE. We have our first event coming up in the UAE at Desert Shield Fitness. We have an event coming up in Switzerland. So we're really starting to grow, but about 800 alone here in the United States. And almost everybody finishes. We have scaled down standards for 65 age group plus. We have scaled down movement standards for the kiddos, 10 to 13. We have team competitions, something for everybody. And the method to the madness there is that, and it wasn't madness. I say that sometimes too loosely. It was not madness. We had an amazing plan. Gamified fitness for all levels. And when you look at that, lowering that barrier of entry and saying, okay, 80% of people, give or take, a large percentage of people are not testing their fitness. They're not on a good fitness journey. They're overweight. They're unfit. They're not consistent. They're on a bad path. Let's be direct. They're on a bad path. I call it being always ready. They're not going to be always ready when they wake up 50, 60, 70 years old. They're going to be forced to say no to things that they should be able to do. If that's the type of work they want to do, if that's going on active vacations like they would want to do, but the body's saying no, playing with your kids, eventually your grandkids. These are the messages, and this is how Joe and I's mind worked. And my good friend Jared Cogswell, we brought Jared on literally the day after Joe and I had that conversation in his kitchen. This was the foundation we were building. Our why was to provide that start line for all levels, provide them their sport. We felt everybody deserved their sport. Everybody deserved to celebrate fitness. So we really kind of changed the game. If you ever see that big mountain, the Spartan Mountain that starts with stadium, sprint, super, beast, ultra, death race, and you climb the mountain. Well, DEKA Fire, DEKA Strong, DEKA Mile, DEKA Fit is for those that aren't testing their fitness and aren't on a good fitness journey. It's like you're down on the sand with your feet in the sand. That's the base of the mountain. It's the ultimate base of the mountain. It's for everybody. I don't care if you're 100 pounds overweight and unfit. It's for you right now. You mentioned the April Lauren podcast. I love that woman. She's our greatest example of somebody that was on a 200-pound weight loss journey. She's still on that journey. She's doing so well. She's done DEKA Strong, DEKA Mile, DEKA Fit. She gives us that shining example of like, yes, it's for everybody. And all of our events usually take place in the metropolitan areas, and your small town, your big town, your big or small city, right there. Super convenient. No wind, no rain, no elements. I don't care if it's December and cold or August and hot. You're inside, 70-degree temperatures, climate controlled. And so really and truly, we tried to push. Joe and I were like, we're going to push all the barriers off the side of the cliff. There's no more excuses. And the funny true story is he's like, oh my God, I love what we're talking about here. Who's going to help us manage it? I said, well, I got a good friend, mine, Jared Cogswell. We've served together for the U.S. Army, and we got about 60 years combined fitness experience. The next day, Jared was on a plane to Boston. We sat in Joe's office, and DEKA was we kept the ball rolling. We quickly rented out an old abandoned Kmart in Denver, Colorado, and we just murdered the plan. We had like 7, 8, 9 zones that we knew were right, and we just kept murdering the plan. We kept testing. We tested hundreds. overweight, unfit, the cyborgs, everybody in between, until we felt we had the right movement standards. And when I talk about the movement standards, this is so, so important. And I feel most people kind of get a kick out of this. What happens optically, I mentioned earlier on the call, those things that all those sports and tests and competitions that are out there, they're high barrier of entry. They scare a lot of people. CrossFit Opens, CrossFit Games, you hear about the Murph, the Spartans, the Tough Mudders, the marathons, half marathons, triathlons, all this stuff. Ninjas and hanging from stuff. Very optically unsettling for a lot of people. I was like, okay, let's look at 2,000 to 3,000 years ago, and it wasn't fitness and exercise. It was basic movement for survival. Let's do basic lifting, carrying, pushing, pulling. We're going to kneel down and stand back up. We're going to get down on the ground, get back up off the ground. We're going to lean in on 3 basic forms of transportation that have been around for a long, long time: row, ski, and bike. Here's the thing. There's not a single movement that has to be taught. I don't care if you've never played a sport, you've never tested your fitness, you've never been in a gym or an exercise class in your life. You don't have to be taught how to do these things. You may not be very fast. You may not be very efficient, but as you are right now, it meets you. I don't care if you walk in with a pair of business slacks and your damn business shoes on. You can do it right then and there. You see your wife doing it, she's fit, you're not fit, no big deal. It's for you right now. Sign up. It may take you twice as long as your husband or your wife, but then you can come back to that gym where you just competed, and you can train with great purpose for the next 3 months until the next event. And guess what? The time will improve. Periodically, you bolt on the exact same test, and the time improves. And you get to pat yourself on the back and say, you know what? The time that I invested is paying off. I'm a better athlete. And I was never an athlete before, but now I am. If you can't tell, man, I get excited when I talk about this. So I got a little long in there. Go ahead.
No, absolutely.
What's your next question, brother?
No, I wanted to share my opinion as well, because when I wanted to do the DEKA Strong, I signed up for it, and I was like, I can't do this. To be honest, I think I cannot do this, because there was lunges, there was ram burpees, and I actually did the DEKA Strong, and I actually enjoyed it. And surprisingly, I think I might be the only guy. My DEKA Mile was a bit faster than DEKA Strong. So one thing which you did mention, that, having signed up for the event, focusing on consistency and having a goal in mind, I think is so, so beautiful. If given a choice now, I would pick DEKA any given day, because at the end of the day, when you're at that event, I think the race is designed in such a beautiful way. And I'm not sure if you had the opportunity to visit any of the DEKA events that happened in Dubai. They were done in probably the most iconic and beautiful locations. So, one of the events was in a place called Al Sif, and right in front of you, there is a beautiful lake. And you're doing the last zone right in front of the beautiful lake. So, absolutely. And I have to say, thank you so very much for getting DEKA into our lives. So, absolutely brilliant work on that thing.
Yeah, I haven't, but I do want to visit Dubai. I had a lot of great talks with Desert Shield and several other people. We have a couple other affiliates hopefully coming on board. And I cannot remember the name of the energy company over there that we're going to be working with. Aramco, I think it's Aramco. Maybe Aramco. They just had like 50, 70,000 employees over there, and we're working on some possible projects with their employees. And I do love that fitness. You guys and gals are so serious about your fitness in Dubai. That fits our mindset very well. And the fact that anybody in Dubai that's fit and enjoys DEKA, what it provides them, and this is such a key moment. This was such a key moment for us, and key point for all the listeners here, is it provides all those people, they can authentically and genuinely go out in town and say, you need to come test. The event coming up this Saturday, it's made for you. I know you haven't been working on your fitness. I know you're not on a good fitness journey right now, but this event, this race is for you. It's for you right now. And you mean it. You got your coaching hat on. You're being a coach, even though you're not a certified coach. You're coaching right then and there. And you're going to help get that person to their start line. And that can absolutely change their life. I said it earlier. Fitness changes and saves lives every single damn day. And we really wanted to be legacy builders with DEKA. We wanted to, 10 years from now, I honestly feel like people will say DEKA helped change the game. And now tens of millions of people, or now hundreds of millions of people, hopefully, are testing their fitness. And now they're more actively engaged and consistently taking care of themselves.
Absolutely 100% agreed with. And one thing which you touched base earlier is that, you can have a DEKA event probably in an interior place as well. And as you know, the extreme climate in the Middle East, usually we don't have any outdoor events, let's say from April till October. But with events such as DEKA, you always have this option to do it indoor.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple of really, really beautiful locations, and I'm pretty much sure that some of the events are definitely going to be taking place. Now, keeping all these things in mind, Yancy, can you tell some of the gym owners what is the DEKA affiliate program, and how can, let's say, gym owners or fitness enthusiasts become part of your DEKA affiliate plan?
The affiliate program is 99% of the reason why we exist, and we don't throw that out there loosely. We mean that. And I'll talk a little bit about the model. I've been a fitness business owner myself. I've probably coached 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 group exercise classes. I understand what it means to be a gym owner, to coach class, to manage that business, have to meet your bottom line and generate revenue. And we built DEKA, and we built the DEKA and the DEKA affiliate program to check 4 specific boxes for every gym owner out there. So if you're a gym member, what I'm going to try to do here over the next couple minutes is educate you in a way where you, as a gym member, you can go talk to your gym owner, or if you're a gym owner, general manager, fitness director, you're going to have a good understanding of how easy it is and how beneficial it is to bolt us on as an affiliate. In the gym space, as a gym owner, there's 4 key boxes you've got to check, and they mean a lot to the gym owner. Revenue generation, member retention, lead generation, and exercise adherence. If we are doing a good job in all 4 of those, we're going to kick ass and take names as a gym owner. So first thing I'll talk about is the revenue generation. To be a DEKA affiliate, you pay us $159 a month. It's $1,900 a year. We're talking about US dollars. Now, once you bolt us on, you have the benefit to put on pretty much as many events that you want to put on. We recommend 1 a quarter. If you go more than 1 a quarter, you're going to kind of dilute things, but once a quarter. So that may be 4 Saturdays a year. You may do a Saturday and Sunday 4 times a year. That would actually be 8 events. And we generated a rev share model. So when you bolt on that DEKA Strong, that DEKA Mile, Spartan DEKA event, or the DEKA Strong and DEKA Mile team events, on that, let's look at a Saturday, for example. When you have that Saturday event, you are putting on an official Spartan race inside your brick and mortar facility, official Spartan DEKA event competition inside your gym. Let's say 100 people come. I'll use a U.S. gym event here for easy math. 100 people come, and for most DEKA Strongs, our gyms charge $39. So we're going to gross revenue $3,900. We're going to cut the gym a check for 60% of that. That's about $2,500. So in one day, you're $600 to the good of what you paid out of pocket for the whole year to be an affiliate. We're going to set up the online registration, the online check-in. We're going to set up so you can load your DEKA marks to your day of live leaderboard, and then those go to the global leaderboard so you can see how you can compare to the whole world. Again, we've had 850 events. We're going to educate your team on all how to referee and judge your people, just all things DEKA. We're going to do everything we can do to help allow you to put on a phenomenal race on game day. All you need is volunteers and good energy and a freaking laptop. If you have that, you have everything you need to put on a phenomenal event. So let's do the math here real quick. If you put on 4 successful events and you have good decent registration, you're going to make about 10 grand. Just on your 4 days of putting on an event, your out of pocket was $1,900. You're more than $8,000 to the good right there. Now, what's the second key revenue generator? On average in the United States, anywhere, if 100 people come to Gym A over here, in let's say Los Angeles or Dallas, New York, wherever, Miami, 100 people come to the event. On average, 30 to 40% of those people, so 30 to 40 bodies, have never walked into your gym before. And a percentage of them do not have a home gym. So Dubai's got the event, 100 people come in to that gym, let's say 30 of them have never walked in that gym before. With just a little bit of marketing savvy, you should be able to convert some of them to paying members of your gym. Because what you're going to do is in between your events, you're putting on group exercise classes to train them. It's not just about looking better in the bathing suit, losing a few pounds or inches. It's about being a better version of yourself, improving your score in your new sport that we call DEKA, that was designed for all levels of fitness. So 2 amazing revenue generators. If you are ridiculously lazy with DEKA and all you put on is one decent event and then you kind of get lazy with it and you fall off, you're still going to recover your out of pocket. You're still going to recover your $159 a month, which is $1,900. So a lot of our gyms they're not getting lazy with it. They're kicking you know what and taking names and doing very well. And that's why we hardly ever lose affiliates. I can probably count on one hand how many we've lost. So we talked about revenue generation. The lead generation tool is, gets the people into the door. And then the member retention is once you get them across, once you get a member across the start line and then they find the finish line, research shows that if you can get your people to the local 5K, just get them to any kind of test, get them to test their fitness, exercise adherence improves. What DEKA did was provide the event. The events take place. They don't have to go anywhere. They're stepping up to the start line in the comfort of their second home, my gym where I train. And I can invite people in, friends, family, coworkers, and neighbors in to test as well. So that's the member retention, the exercise adherence. We check all those boxes. So we provide so much for so little that, we make a little money on the monthly recurring charge. And we give you the 60% of the event. Again, we stand up the online check-in, the registration, we send out the T-shirts. About a week before the event, you get your Spartan DEKA T-shirts, your medal, your trifecta wedge. So let's say you do DEKA Strong, DEKA Mile at my home gym, and then DEKA Fit comes to town once a year. That's where you go earn your trifecta. So 2/3 of the trifecta is earned at my home gym or wherever I went to test. So we really gamified this in a way to flip the fitness world upside down on its head. I think what's happened all too much is we get blinders on as people that love fitness, as coaches and even gym owners. And we don't realize that a massive percentage of our communities they don't have gym memberships. They're not into fitness. They're not consistently on a good fitness journey. We said we've got to be maniacally focused on them, not the 20%. Maniacal focus on the 80%. Provide them with a start line and a reason to test. Get them in, and we know the 20% will love it. They do. We just had a very successful 2022 World Championships. One more quick thing, and then I'll shut up about the affiliate program. We have we do a lot of things to really help you gamify it. Once a quarter, we do the DEKA quarterly challenges, which we've had probably 10, 15,000 teams compete in that since we launched. Always based on teams. 2-person male, 2, 3, or 4-person male, female, co-ed, or youth teams. We always design them for all levels of fitness. We really gamify it with leaderboards. We provide prizes. We have the DEKA training system. So we have bolt-on, ready-made for you DEKA training classes. You don't have to use them, but they're there for you if you need them. A lot of support. Every month we do an online call, talk about all things key DEKA. Sometimes we'll have professionals in certain areas to help you in your fitness space. And again, I'm not going to go down through all the bullet points, but we provide a lot for a little, and we make it ridiculously easy for you to bolt us on and benefit from it without it being a big headache. There's not a lot that you have to do. We're trying to do a lot for you to make you better. So, and the last thing I'll say is when I say we are for all gyms, every type of gym, club, studio, or box on planet Earth has partnered with us. The largest gym franchise in the world, Anytime Fitness. We have those. 24-hour fitness, the big clubs. Gold's Gym. We just got our first Gold's Gym. We have an F45 bolt us on. We have mom and pop gym, club, studios, and boxes. We have CrossFit boxes, big and small, all over the country. CrossFit boxes everywhere bolting us on. I think a lot of the owners will tell us that DEKA improves our optics as a CrossFit box. If you're probably 2,000 square feet, I don't know the conversion rate there for you guys, but 2,000 square feet or more, it's a small space. That's all you need to be a DEKA affiliate. So I don't care what type of gym you are in the UAE, we are for you. We are for you right now. So that's a quick 10-minute elevator DEKA affiliate program. But if you have any questions about some of the stuff I brought up, man, feel free to hit me. When I say that's 99% of the reason we exist, I love the big DEKA Fit events, the big spectacles, but really and truly, our maniacal focus is serving everybody in that community that has the opportunity to be a member of that gym. Here's the thing with gym owners, general managers in fitness spaces, fitness pros, coaches, trainers. We got into fitness, most of us, because we love serving people with the power of fitness. It's kind of like nurses and teachers and other careers where there's a lot of careers that anybody can do it. You know, if you apply yourself, even if you don't like it, you can still do okay. There's a very small percentage of careers in the service industry, and fitness is one of the key ones where you serve people. Man, 95% of people can't do it. It takes a very special person to do well in fitness, and we love what we do. We love serving people, and we built DEKA to serve those people that love serving others with the power of fitness, and it's going very, very well. And that really starts at the gym level. At the gym level and in the communities around the gym, are we providing a great opportunity to help them be a better version of themselves? And that's how we built the affiliate program the way we did.
Absolutely. And when you talk about gym owners from a logistics point of view, it becomes so much easier, let's say, in comparison to do an outdoor event. You know, I definitely do think that what you're saying does make a lot of sense. And I do remember watching one of your videos, I believe it was on Instagram, where some of the athletes, if I'm not mistaken, were they doing it inside the basketball court? And they were running outside and then coming back. And I was watching it and I was like, this is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, you have our 3 basic races. And real quick, I'm going to back up before I forget this sometimes. I want to give a massive shout out to our extremely small team. We are 7 people total. And again, we lean on Spartan a little bit for certain things, but there's 7 of us that it doesn't happen without, Robin, Nelson, Brian, Cynthia, Preston, Arlene, myself, and our it's a small but powerful, mighty team. We have a lot of experience in the fitness space, hundreds of years of understanding what it takes to be successful in fitness. So I'm super proud of our team because I know they'll listen to this. I just want to give them a massive fist bump through the microphone here. And but yes, so with our 3 events, let's walk through those real quick. The DEKA Strong is our 10 zones with no running. Very small space to make it happen. DEKA Mile, we precede each zone with a 160-meter run. So when you hit the finish line, you ran a total of 1,600 meters, basically 1 mile. The DEKA Fit, we precede our 10 zones with 500 meters of running. So when you finish, you run a 5K. Arguably speaking, the mile and the 5K are 2 of the most popular running distances of all time. They've been very popular for a long time. So there was a little method to the madness there. So we had the no running, the mile, and the 5K. And again, all 10 zones were designed to be non-intimidating, low barrier of entry. But when you combine them all, I would argue that's one of the greatest well-rounded functional fitness tests the world ever seen. We leaned in heavily on Chris Henshaw, one of the greatest coaches on planet Earth, if you ask me. He's a wildly famous coach in the CrossFit space and in the endurance world. Very high, successful Ironman athlete in his prime. We would bounce it off of Chris, and Chris said, "You guys are really onto something here. You've got a great 10 zone test here designed for all levels." So yeah, the one you saw was the zones are in the gym, and they would do their 500-meter run outside. They would leave the gym, go out in the parking lot, come back in, and go to their next zone. And as long as you're very careful with your measuring, with the DEKA Mile and the DEKA Fit, you use some basic calculations, and making sure you're covering that full mile, the full 5K. You can just about do it anywhere, and keep it very symmetrical and balanced. Like with 850 gym events, probably 600 of those being DEKA Strongs and about 250 being DEKA Miles. What it allows us to do, we average 5 to 25 events every single weekend across the United States, Canada, and the UK. And again, first one coming to UAE, which we're very proud of. So when you look at, okay, we've got 15 DEKA Strongs going on this weekend and 5 DEKA Miles, how can we make sure that there's all those scores go to the leaderboard and it's got a good, it balances out. And there's just all you have to do is follow some very basic standards, and you can have all the gyms competing, which is really cool, to be able to standardize the test where, we've had 850 events. In 5 years from now, that's going to be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of events. If you do the math, let's say we had 2,000 affiliates right now. We're at about 215. Get 2,000 affiliates, that's 6,000 to 8,000 events a year. That's insane. I mean, now hundreds of thousands of people are testing every year. You fast forward another couple of years, and now millions and millions of people are being tested, and tens of thousands of events. So now, basically, the goal is ultimately every person on planet Earth, they have the ability to walk or drive or Uber or whatever, however they want to get there, to a gym event. Yep. And of course, bolt on the periodic DEKA Fits, the big Super Bowl, where like some of our DEKA Fits, we may have 100+ gyms represented this week in Knoxville, this Saturday in Knoxville, Tennessee. We'll have anywhere from 80 to 100 gyms represented. So,
And last year, we also had the trifecta. We had the Strong, we had Mile, and we had the Fit. Now, as you just mentioned, the first affiliate from the United Arab Emirates, that is Desert Shield Fitness, and they will be hosting the first DEKA event. I believe that is called as DEKA Strong, and they're doing this event on the 15th of April. Now, what's really important in this date is because it is Ramadan in the Middle East, so athletes will be fasting during the entire day, and the event kicks off at 8 p.m. in the evening. So what advice do you have for them? Because I did send them a message, and I asked them, do you have any questions that you want me to ask Yancy? So they asked me, what is the word of advice you want to shout out to them?
Well, my wife is a dietitian. Make sure you try to get fueled up, following the Ramadan rules, whatever the exact rules are. Make sure you're fueled the best you can, because it is an intense effort. And my wife loves working with. She has athletes at the University of Texas that participate in Ramadan as well, and she's got very key practices that she'll work with them to help them with their fueling. But two, and just as important, if not more important, is the making sure the Desert Shield. My number one bit of advice for them is don't ever lose sight of the fact that this was all created around celebrating fitness for all levels. Yes, a lot of people see us as a sport, and it's wildly competitive, and we had world championships, and maybe 10-20% of the people that compete in March at Desert Shield will be trying to maybe punch their ticket to world championship, or how high can they get up in the elite and age group standards. But for most people, they're just looking to test their fitness. So they're just looking to test their fitness, and that is for your volunteers, the gym owners, the general managers, the fit pros, the fitness directors, whoever you have working there. Make sure that, yes, you want to celebrate the highly competitive people, but what always comes first in the DEKA mission is celebrating those people that it might be the very first time they've stepped up to a start line, or maybe it's been a long, long time, and they're nervous, and they've got those butterflies in their belly, and they're getting ready to test their fitness, and you want to celebrate with those people and just do everything you can to make that a spectacle that we're celebrating fitness for all levels of. I can't say that enough, because what happens is it's so easy for people to revert back to, oh man, I got to make sure I cater to the high level athletes, and the optics of heavy weights and the grueling, the sweat fast and the grind, and people just laid out on the floor and turning themselves inside out. And I love all that stuff. But remember, most people are not in that. The way the teeter-totter sways is the greater percentage of people are down here, not on the good fitness journey. And we want to change that. We want to pull them in. We want them to have a phenomenal experience. We want them to have their sport and their reason for testing their fitness. So you got to balance that out. Don't ever allow yourself to cater too much to the badasses, to the DEKA cyborgs. Celebrate with them, but make sure everybody that walks in your door has a wonderful experience and is excited about their new sport and feels empowered.
Absolutely. And, I do have to say that I might be under the category, or rather was in the category, because when I did the farmer's walk, I'm only 5'2", and I'm 64 kgs and 27 kgs in one hand. It was extremely, extremely tough for me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something that you did mention, having a goal focusing on consistency. On the second and the third event, I absolutely smashed the farmer's walk. Now, I might have not beaten the record, let's say, for Ryan Kett, but at the end of the day, I was so extremely happy that, I managed to overcome something. And I'm a short guy, so, thank you once again for doing that. And they just sent me a message stating that, they are going to be arranging a DEKA mile pretty soon as well.
Yeah, one more bit of advice is, January 1, 2023, we formally launched DEKA Strong and DEKA Mile teams. We had so much success with DEKA Fit teams in 2022. We launched DEKA Strong and DEKA Mile teams. So now all of our gyms have the ability. Let's say you do DEKA Strong in the morning and come back the first 3 or 4 hours DEKA Strong individual. Then you bolt on an hour or two of teams. Where you're for our affiliates, you're going to be able to get twice as many people through your course, and you lower the barrier of entry even more. Let's say you do have somebody that's a little scared of one or two of the zones. Well, the teammate that they're partnered with can conquer those 2 zones, and then we'll divide and conquer the other 8 together. So it really lowers the barrier of entry even more. And keep in mind for our elder individuals, for 65, 69, and 70 plus age groups, we lower the weight standards for them. So we're really trying to check all the boxes and make this available for the entire UAE region, just like for the whole U.S. region. Is that, can we say that 99+% of everybody in the UAE or in the United States can find their DEKA finish line? Absolutely. So at every Desert Shield event, there's going to be something for everybody. And hopefully when you and I do the podcast next year, we've got 10 or 15 affiliates, meticulously spread across the UAE, and DEKA is even way more popular in UAE than it is right now.
And Yancy, can you tell us the oldest athlete who has done the DEKA, any of the DEKA events?
So multiple people, 80 plus.
Oh.
Now, and that was before we scaled down. We noticed at 65 plus, we had a much lower percentage of competitors. And when we interviewed the 65 plus men and women, that is an age for most people in that age group, the weights are getting a little heavy. So we really wanted to increase, and it's still a challenge. The men at 65 plus do the standard female weights, and the females at 65 plus do the standard youth 10 to 13 weights. Still a big challenge. Don't get me wrong, but it just allowed us to cater to a larger group with our elders.
And, Yancy, lately in UAE and Dubai in particular, there are a lot of enthusiasts who are focused on obstacle course race. A lot of them, I know, they've even changed the Instagram handle to whatever their name is, _OCR. So what message do you have for listeners who are focused only on obstacle course race? How would you want to convince them to give a try to, let's say, any of the DEKA events?
Well, keep in mind that our global mission at Spartan is to provide fitness for everyone. We want everybody walking up to a start line periodically. If you'll keep an event on the calendar, you're going to improve exercise adherence. And that's one of our key messages at Spartan. And the obstacle course racing world has done a great job at that. Our Spartan races, our Tough Mudders, we now have trail. We have Highlander games. We have so many things. We have a La Ruta. We're checking a lot of boxes in fitness. But what DEKA did was dramatically improve our ability to reach a much broader audience. And it can be the gateway drug, for lack of better terms, for the OCR space. So for the OCR people that love the mud and the barbed wire and the sandy, crazy courses that are very, very challenging, and they do create tough looking optics for certain people, maybe. And I like to say, so let's look at this high level obstacle course racing athlete, or just not even a high level, but they love OCR and the UAE. Now you have something. You may not have been able to get that friend, family, coworker, or neighbor to the mud, the barbed wire, the sand, and all the challenging obstacles. But now you can say, hey, Spartan has another option for you. Let's go to this Desert Shield Fitness race. Let's go to this UAE DEKA race or wherever. And let's work on earning our DEKA trifecta. What'll happen for a certain percentage of those is this time next year, or maybe it's 2025, I don't know, you will have a greater opportunity to get them to the OCR race. the obstacle course race, I should say. And that's so you have this amazing level of progression. There will always be something bigger and better to go to and harder and more challenging. Like the death race. I mean, one day, you never know. There could be somebody that starts with a DEKA Strong at Desert Shield Fitness in a couple weeks, and 5 years from now, they're doing the Spartan Death Race, which is on top of the friggin' mountain. You never know. It's never too late to get started. So my advice to the OCR community, really, really nailing down your question, is you put your coaching hat on right now. You're taking care of yourself, and I love that. You're going to be a better version of yourself for your wife, your kids, your husband, your kids, your community, everything. You're going to be a better version of yourself. Well, now it's time to put your coaching hat on and tell those people that I've got. And here's the thing. When you tell them DEKA's for them, you're not blowing smoke. It's for real. You mean that because that's the way we designed it. So graciously pull them in and get them to that Desert Shield event. Get them to the next affiliate event. Get them to those races, and and I want you to be the one. When that judge finished, and they put that last Spartan and burpee above their head, you go grab the medal. You put the medal around their neck. That last burpee is just like jumping over the fire pit at a Spartan. It's the same thing. That's our fire pit. Put the medal around their neck. Hand them their T-shirt. Hug them. Love on them. Give them the high fives. Tell them to get ready to sign up for your next one in 3 to 4 months.
That is absolutely beautiful and absolutely brilliant way of saying that. The next question is also another advice. This is an advice, let's say, to pro athletes who are trying to, let's say, compete with Rich Ryan or Ryan Kent, Lauren Wicks or Tara Jackson. I do know a couple of athletes from UAE. What advice would you like to give to them?
At a certain point, let's walk through the whole journey. Let's say you're on the 100-pound weight loss journey. In the first couple of years, you're really focused on losing some weight, becoming a better version of yourself, becoming a little more fit, improving your lifestyle. Well, there's going to come a point on that journey, and maybe at one point in time you were a great athlete, but you let yourself go. You're going to come to that point where it's like, whoa, my times are getting very competitive. And at that point, let's say you weren't trying to qualify for DEKA World Championships in the age group or an elite category, strong, mile, or fit, or all three for that matter. You're going to need to dial in your training specificity. Training in a way that compromises your running just like the 10 zones do. How does zone 7, the air bike and the shoulder overs and the tank push pull, how does that compromise me? After these 3 zones, my running is suffering. My 500 meter times or my 160 meter times are much slower after these zones. Well, let's say zone 7. If you build a training session around 8 rounds of, let's say, 10, 15, 20, 25 cals on the air bike, and then you go run and you do that for 8, 9, 10 rounds, guess what? If you do that once a week, you work that session in on, let's say, and you progress that, let's say, on a 2-month, you build a 2-month mesocycle to improve your ability to run faster, bike faster, and run faster after the bike. Again, we could talk about all the zones and combining all the zones, but we'll focus on this one to make it easy to understand. If we build an 8-week training cycle, and once a week, we're going to work in a let's actually build the workout for the listeners. Week 1, we're going to do 10 cals and run 200 meters. Or let's say 100 meters. Week 1, 10 cals, 100 meters. We're going to go for 8 rounds. Week 2, we go 10 cals, 160 meters. Week 3, we go 15 cals, 200 meters. Week 4, we go 15 cals, 300 meters. Week 5, we go 20 cals, 400 meters. Week 6, we go 25 cals, 500 meters. 6, 7, 8 rounds. I've literally lost what week we're on. Let's say, okay, now week 8 comes. And we test. Okay? We test. What you could do in week 1 is do 1 round. Just do 1 round in week 1 before you start your 8-week training cycle. Do 1 round of 25 cals, 1 500-meter run. Okay? By week 8, and again, you're also doing 3 other sessions. By week 8, you're probably going to get through at least the first 6 rounds as faster than you were on your week 1 test round, because you've just progressed. So you're just slowly, you're not throwing 8 rounds of 25,500 on you. You're slowly working up to it. And now what you have is this great progression mesocycle that can be, and then the next mesocycle you work in maybe 7, 8, and 9, or work it up to 7, 8, 9, and 10, to where you're finishing off the last 4 rounds and you're working through those 4 zones. So I could build 1 million training sessions that were extremely DEKA specific. You change the reps or the calories or the meter length. You would change the rest duration. You change the effort on the zone and or the effort on the run. I mean, there's literally 1 million. Any coach listening knows what I'm talking about. There's 1 million workouts you could, but just put the pen to paper and build a logical training session. And I promise you that's going to translate out on course. So really and truly, the cool part about DEKA, you don't have to have a supreme coaching mind to build a training session. You reach out to me, I'll help you. But the cool part about it is the affiliates have a lot of smart coaches, and most of those owners are smart, and they're building DEKA-inspired classes. And this is what's so freaking beautiful, that now every day you come to train is not just about let's sweat, let's lose a few pounds or kilograms or whatever. No, let's do it with purpose. It's a DEKA-inspired class. I'm going to be faster at my next DEKA Strong, DEKA Mile, or DEKA Fit. And 3 years from now, I'm going to look back and say, oh my gosh, it used to take me an hour to do DEKA Fit, 38 minutes to do DEKA Mile, and 32 minutes to do DEKA Strong. Now I'm doing DEKA Strong in 17 minutes, DEKA Mile in 26 minutes, and DEKA Fit in 30-something minutes. It's like, oh my gosh, look where I was. And the fact that those events never, ever change, the challenges changes, the training changes, a lot of stuff changes, but the power of being able to bolt on the exact same test periodically, and it to be very convenient and be taking place inside the comfort of your gym, is game-changing over the course of 3, 4, 5, 6 years, to be able to look back at where you were. I'm telling you, that's got massive power. And you are not, your chances of dropping off of your exercise journey, your new exercise fitness, it's a part of your DNA now. Man, it's in your culture. You're in coach mode now. The fact that the odds of you dropping off that wagon are slim and none. That's why we built. That's the message of why DEKA is successful. A key piece.
I 100% agree. And am I right in saying that for DEKA Strong, the 20-minute mark would kind of be a benchmark?
Yeah, we've tested so many people that we could lay out. Jack Bauer and I are actually working on some very key data. Jack's a statistical guru. We've been working together for about 8 years. I would say I was talking to the National Guard the other day in the U.S., some people that work for the U.S. military, and I said, all of our men should be able to go sub 20, and all of our females should be able to go sub 22 in DEKA Strong. If you go sub 20 in DEKA Strong, you're fit. You're not a freaking crazy cyborg athlete, but you're fit. You've done it enough to know that's not a super easy task. You've got to have strength endurance, balance, coordination. You got to have a good aerobic and anaerobic engine. You got to be well-rounded in the fitness space. And then you just graduate up from there for, like if you go sub 45 DEKA Fit, you're very fit, no pun intended. And then if you look at the DEKA, let's say you run in 1959, if you can bolt on a 7-minute mile, that's going to put you at 27. I would say sub 28 is a good, if you're 20 on DEKA Strong, we should be able to do DEKA Mile in 28. That's you're maintaining a pretty good jog pace on all you're not forced to walk. It's perfectly okay if you walk. A lot of people walk the whole mile or the whole 5K. That's beautiful. Tons of people in Knoxville this weekend will walk the whole 5K. That's where you are right now. It meets you right now. Some people are in their wheelchairing the whole 5K. We love it all. But yeah, it's really easy to provide some data like, hey, this is the platinum level. If you break 12 in DEKA strong, you're freaking platinum. You're platinum. Very few people have ever done it. And if you break 13 on the female side, you're platinum level, diamond level, whatever you call it. Then you kind of have gold, silver, bronze, AAA, AA, A, 6 or 7 categories make a lot of sense. And that gives people, I'm talking about stuff kind of that we haven't really talked about on a podcast yet. So you're getting the late breaking news. Eventually we hope to have that to where, so let's say your first one, you finish, you're just a DEKA athlete. Everybody's an athlete. Well, you reach a certain mark, you go to the A level, and then the AA, the AAA, the bronze, silver, gold, platinum, or diamond level. It just gives you something it's you versus you, ultimately. That was another one of our mission statements with DEKA is it's you versus you. This is where I am today. If I commit to fitness, if I'm a little selfish with my time and say, okay, 4 to 5 days a week, I don't care if it's just 20, 30 minutes, I'm going to check that box. I'm going to be a little selfish with my time. This is Yancy time. I'm going to take care of myself. Over time, I will become a better version of myself. I will periodically retest, and DEKA helps me show that my time has paid off. It's as simple as that. You versus you. Now, we know some people will get competitive, but everybody's an athlete, my friend. Everybody is an athlete where you currently stand right now.
Well, 100% agree. And when you look at DEKA in comparison, let's say, to obstacle course race, the fact that these zones are standardized pretty much all across the world, it always gives us room for improvement. And, you're leaving very little on external factors. And, as you mentioned beautifully, it is you versus you. So I do think from a business point of view also, having these zones standardized is so important and it's so brilliant. Now, let me talk about something to do with business, because right now the world is in absolute chaos. You have geopolitical situations going on, you have inflations going on through the roof. So from a business point of view, Yancy, what I wanted to ask is, how do you manage the business and what are the challenges that you're facing right now? And this is not necessarily from, let's say, a fitness point of view, from a business point of view, because the inflation numbers are not looking good, particularly in the US and other parts of the world as well.
And we built the whole brand during COVID. After the first couple months of us behind the scenes, Joe and I talking in Pittsfield, the next couple of days we're down in Boston, and then we're right to Denver. After we got to Denver, a short time after that, couple months of R&D, research and development, and murdering the plan, we like to call it, COVID ripped the rug right off from under. So we built the whole affiliate brand, the race model, everything, training and testing with purpose, celebrating fitness at all levels. It was all built during COVID, one of the worst times we've ever seen. We were maniacally focused. I love this question. We were maniacally focused on, again, providing the gym space, the fitness space, the clubs, the studios, the boxes, every type of gym space on planet Earth, fitness space, I should say, with the ability to have a revenue generator that helps them out in tough times. And in good times, it's even better. We got more money going in the bank, but we've paid out approximately $1.25 million. It's not a crazy amount, but we're small. We now have over 200 affiliates. We've paid over the course of the last couple of years $1.25 million to those gyms. And like I said, if 100 people come to that event, we generate $4,000. We're going to cut you a check for 60% of that. Okay, and that's money that we can put right in the bank. You don't have to spend hardly anything to put on an event. It's logistically relatively easy.
So, Yancy, from a business point of view, what kind of a business revenue model we are looking at?
So from the DEKA affiliation side of it, where we're partnering with gyms, clubs, studios, and boxes. Let's look into the future. Right now, we have about 220 gyms, mostly in the U.S. and some in Canada and the UK and the UAE. But let's look for easy math. Let's project a couple years down the road. Let's say we have 2,000 affiliates. We're going to talk about total revenue generation here, so people can kind of understand how we make our money, and also provide the opportunity to cut a lot of big checks to our affiliates. So 2,000 affiliates, let's say they're averaging, they're doing well. We have 8,000 events over that 12-month period. If we have 8,000 events. If we have on average 75 people come to those events, that's 600,000 people that are going to be tested that year. For easy math, we'll go with the DEKA Strong, which we normally charge $39 per. The mile is $49, so blended would be around $42, $43, but we'll just go for $39 for easy math. 600,000 times 39, we're going to gross revenue $23.4 million. Now, and again, 60% we give back to the gyms. That's over $14 million that we pay back to the gyms just for their 60% for the event that they put on. So if you're looking at it from the individual perspective, each gym, club, studio, or box is going to see if they put on semi-consistent events, they're going to see anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000 a year of additional revenue just for 4, 5, 6 days of celebrating fitness. Now, and again, we talked about the key piece with a lot of those people coming in to test have never been in that gym before. So with a little bit of marketing savvy skills, they can turn some of those people into monthly paying members, which obviously really goes a long way at generating more additional revenue on top of that 60-40 rev share split. Now we also have the $159 a month that we charge. That's $1,900 a year for one gym. But I'm glad you asked the question, because it's very important to us to be transparent. We want everybody to understand how our business model works. We're not getting filthy rich off this, but we will be profitable. And as we continue to scale, we will be more and more profitable, which makes us strong. It allows us to R&D new stuff, bolt on new values and benefits for the gyms, put on more magnificent events, and do more to make sure our gym events are even more and more magnificent. And it just all continues to grow. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's an extremely simple concept. Yeah, that there's no complications for our gym. So if you're a gym owner or a fitness coach or a gym member that says, I would like to do this, reach out to us. Now, shoot me a private message on my Instagram at Yancy Culp. Go to DEKA.fit, fill out our inquiry form, how to become an affiliate inquiry form. Reach out to us. I'll jump on a call with you the day after this podcast airs. You shoot me a message. I'll drop what I'm doing. We'll jump on a call. I'll teach you how to get affiliated in about 5 minutes. We don't complicate anything. We make it ridiculously simple so you can be a better version of yourself.
That is absolutely brilliant. And what I'll do from my end, I do know a couple of gym owners in Dubai. I'll definitely get in touch with them because, I think it is a win-win situation. And you're talking about fitness and something that you did mention earlier. It is kind of like one of the strongest drug in the world right now as well, right?
And one more thing on that. I mean, it's powerful. The Spartan brand is strong. Yeah. Once you bolt us on as an affiliate, you get to put the Spartan DEKA umbrella over your gym as heavily as you want to. If you want to paint we're going to send you a banner. You're going to be on our Gym Finder page. We're going to be on monthly calls. If you want to paint a whole freaking wall and put this logo, for the viewers, I'm showing the logo on my shirt. It's got the big red Spartan logo and it says DEKA beside it. If you want to paint that on your walls, you want to mark it all over your social media pages, at the front counter, and in your communities. DEKA is your brand. We actually encourage you to lean in on the Spartan DEKA brand as heavily as you possibly can. It's your brand now. You're going to gyms across the United States. They got beautiful banners, and our DEKA training system, they've got it painted on their walls. And the Spartan brand has spent probably $100 million over the years in marketing. That's probably a semi-loose term, but it's probably even accurate. I bet we've spent that much money on marketing. It's a powerful brand. A lot of people have heard of it. We want it to be your brand, and DEKA is a massive piece of it.
I 100% agree, and I'm not sure if you know about in Dubai. Dubai right now is trying to be the world leader so far as cryptocurrency, blockchain, and NFT is concerned, and Spartan does have a pass called as Unbreakable Pass, which is kind of like an NFT, and it does include the DEKA events as well. So what are your thoughts on the Unbreakable Pass?
It's not for everybody, but somebody that's caught the Spartan bug, the Tough Mudder bug, the Trail bug, the DEKA bug, the Highlander, the Ruta. I mean, every single thing that's a ticket that you would purchase to do any of the awesome stuff we provide. If you own an Unbreakable Pass, your stress goes away. You pick and choose what the heck you want, when you want it. Your Unbreakable Pass covers it. So there's a lot of people that are saving money. You know, if you're thinking you're going to do a couple races this year, which we love those people. You're just going to bolt on a couple. I'm going to try a couple DEKAs and a Spartan and a Tough Mudder. You know, you're not going to recover your costs. But if you're racing consistently, it's a phenomenal purchase. Every gym event, we'll see a couple people that, it shows up as $0, even though they had to pay for the pass. It shows $0. They signed up because they had the Unbreakable Pass. So I love the fact that there's value in paying for something. If something's for free, you know, it doesn't, that should say something. If, you know, we have to charge because we put on amazing fitness events. We're really good at it at Spartan and Tough Mudder and DEKA, and we're not perfect, but we're good at what we do, and it costs money. And when you pay for that, you know, you're stepping up to the starting line and you're going to have a magical experience. We're doing everything we can to make sure you have a magical experience, and we're going to celebrate with you before, during, and after. And really try to celebrate with you between the time you finish that, hit that finish line to the next start line. And really we're trying to globally help change the fitness community, but where people have fitness bolted onto their life consistently for the rest of their life. That's a huge piece of why we exist. So the Unbreakable Pass for many people, it's just one more reason to get that next event on the calendar.
Absolutely, and I did have an interview with Joe De Sena where we were discussing about the Unbreakable Pass, and he did say that one of his goals is to have 100 million people off the couch. And keeping that in mind, Yancy, what is your goal, let's say, for DEKA?
For Joe and I, and for me, helping Joe for his mission, and our team, I should say our team helping Joe on his mission, is we know damn good and well that we can get to 100 million faster. Now, I mean, if we have, let's say we have 4,000 gyms one day, and we get 75 people to every one of those. That's 4,000 gyms. That's 12 to 16,000 events a year. Let's just say there's 14,000 times. Let's do some quick math here. Times 75. Okay, that's 1.1 million competitors just at our DEKA gym events in 1 year. Okay, that's and then you're seeing people do individual and team races. That 75 number is very, very conservative because when you have, if you and I own a gym, let's look at DEKA Show Fitness, and let's say we have 3 lines of equipment in there. Most gyms have 2, so let's go with 2 lines. That's more realistic. In an individual event, we're launching 2 people at a time. DEKA Strong, DEKA Mile, we're launching 2 at a time. Okay, over the course of 4 hours, you know, we can get 80 to 100 people through 4 or 5 hours, 80 to 100 people individual. Well, let's say we bolt on 2 hours of team. Well, we're going to get double the people through. Now we're launching 4 people at a time, 2 teams. So you have the ability for 2 lines of equipment to get up to 130, 40, 50, 60 people over the course of your 1-day event. And then a lot of times they'll bolt on a second. When those events start to sell out, they simply, for the next event, simply bolt on a Sunday. So that 75 number is very, very conservative for a lot of our gyms. They're going way above that. And you'll have the periodic, you know, somebody has 1 line of equipment, they may do 40. But I think that's very conservative. I want to give numbers that are realistic. But that 1.1 million could easily be 1.5 to 2 million people doing a Spartan race inside a gym, club, stereo box, inside across the world. And that just gets me really, really excited. So, you know, Joe and I may be 70 or 80 years old when it happens, but I really feel that with all the stuff we have going on, Spartan and Tough Mudder and Trail and DEKA, and that we will reach that 100 million mark one day. And, you know, McDonald's back in the day always had their however many served. I'm okay if you go have McDonald's once a month, but you know, you don't want to work that in your life very often. That needs to be few and far between. Go enjoy a Big Mac or something every now and then. But on the other side, from the fitness perspective, we've got our big sign, and that sign is ticking. And every single weekend, because of DEKA, thousands of people. A lot of weekends, some weekends over 1,000 people are testing right now with just 220 gyms.
Yep.
across the country and the globe. And then we're very freaking proud of that. And that's going to do nothing but continue to grow.
That's absolutely wicked. And Yancy, I just have some fun bit of questions. Now, if there was a celebrity, male or female, that who you think could absolutely smash the DEKA events, who would it be? Now, I'm really hoping that you don't say Liver King.
I'm going to go with, this is a good one. But since the World Cup just happened not too long ago, I'm going to go with soccer, because soccer has proved to be, I would say soccer is one of the top 3 sports. We call it soccer over here. As far as professional athletes that have translated really well into OCR and DEKA is soccer athletes, because they're just, they're so freaking fit. There'll be some of them that lack upper body strength, but with just a little bit of training. So to answer your question, I want to see Messi. I want to see Messi in the DEKA arena. That's who. Messi versus Ronaldo, side by side. Let's go.
And who would you consider as the GOAT between Messi or Ronaldo?
Oh man, I think
that's a tough.
Yeah, Messi is my gosh, what he did to, he's not gone yet. He's still got years left, but he just put such a statement. Just such a statement on his career with the timing with the goals and just helping carry his team. I'm going to go with Messi, but there's a lot of good ones. They have such an aerobic engine, and the aerobic engine is one of the hardest things to build. We can get stronger quicker, strength, endurance, power, endurance. We can get that relatively fast. Not overnight, but relatively fast. And the aerobic engine takes longer. Those guys and gals have been playing soccer since they were little bitty lads and little tykes, and they have an insane aerobic engine, and that's all that stopping and going there's also a pretty damn good anaerobic engine. They really check both boxes right when they jump into the DEKA or the Spartan world. So it translates very well. With a little specific training, that they're going to be kicking ass and taking names.
What about mixed martial art athletes or like UFC athletes? Because I do know a couple of gyms in Dubai where a lot of the world champions are currently training right now, and I'm definitely going to speak to them about DEKA. How do you think they would fare in DEKA events?
I think very, very well immediately in DEKA Strong, maybe DEKA Mile. But here's the thing. They do have big aerobic engines, but that doesn't immediately transfer into running. They don't have, there's a lot of them will run for training, but a lot of their aerobic conditioning is grappling, is inside grappling, rolling. So they're going to need more time on foot running before they could translate like the soccer players. But mentally, from the chin up, they're all freaking cyborgs. They are so damn tough, and that aerobic engine is there, and they're going to have more upper body strength than most soccer players. So I would say the soccer athlete's going to quickly the soccer athlete has a greater chance to win the DEKA FIT. The MMA athlete has a better chance of winning DEKA Strong. And they may meet in the middle. If we take Messi versus, let's say, oh my gosh,
notorious Conor McGregor.
Yeah, Messi versus Conor. Who's going to win that in the DEKA Mile? We don't know.
That'll be absolutely.
I would say Khabib. Khabib is. Khabib is the greatest of all time. If you ask me, he goes. It almost. I think because he's just. He seems very. I mean, none of them are. You can't say humble for any of them, but he's a little more humble than the rest. And Conor helped build the sport with the crazy. Him and Khabib had some. Dude, they created a show. But Khabib is. I love listening to Joe Rogan, and he has a lot of fighters on. And Khabib is. If you ask me on the spot who's the greatest of all time, I would say. So let's say Messi versus Khabib. Ooh, man, that'd be a battle in the DEKA Mile arena.
That'll be absolutely massive. And the other question that I wanted to ask is, from your experience, being in the fitness industry, I believe for at least 3 decades, working with Spartan for over a decade, what advice would you have for, let's say, fellow business partners, potentially even your competitors, but who are working in the fitness community? What business advice would you like to give to them?
I'm going to give away the golden rule. We've already given it away. We talk about it at DEKA all the time. If you're in the fitness space, I'm talking to every gym owner out there, or person that wants to get in the gym owner business. There's reasons Well, let me back up. This is very important to me. In a lot of times, at least over in the United States, and I'm sure you've heard it where you live as well. A lot of times, like, when's the government going to fix the problem?
Yeah.
When's our government going to fix the fitness problem, the overweight, the obesity, the unhealthy situation? We know statistically speaking, when we're more fit, disease goes down, life expectancy goes up. It's not rocket science. We need to be more direct with people. What I just said is not rocket science, but it's as simple as that. People that were fit did much better when they got COVID. Yep. People that were compromised and overweight and unfit, they did not do as well. Cancer, everything. I'm a cancer survivor. I went into it very fit. And it's not the end all be all, but you know where I'm coming from here. So a lot of times we're like, when's the government going to fix the problem? That's the wrong attitude. It's like, I decided I wanted to have a career in the fitness space. It's on me. If I was an accountant, I'm a numbers guy. I need to be really good at crunching numbers. I'm a fitness guy. I need to be really good at serving people through fitness. Now, let's pause right there. I need to be really good at serving people with fitness. For whatever reason, and we can argue the why. There's a lot of whys, but for whatever reason, let's say there's 10 reasons here, a massive percentage of people, they don't have a gym membership. They're not on a good fitness journey. They're not testing their fitness. They don't have good exercise adherence. At best, they're on a roller coaster ride. That's the majority. People in the fitness space or people that want to be in the fitness space. It's not debatable. Nobody can debate me on that. That's a fact. Okay? The same 20%ers, give or take, are the ones that always have a gym membership. They're bouncing around for gyms, or they got the same gym the whole time. They're signing up for things. We got to do a better job at catering to that larger percentage. And that's 100% of why DEKA exists. It's the reason we built it the way we did. It's the reason why we never, ever, ever pull away from that being our maniacal focus. We want you to partner with us on this journey. Partner with us on this journey. If you decide not to, that's fine as well. But look at the reason we're having a level of success is because we're focusing on that. And if you're careful and you program in a way and you build your gym the way it looks in a way, you can kill two birds with one stone. You can cater to both groups. But you better have a meticulous plan in your marketing, the way you develop your business, the way your coaches and trainers speak and communicate to your community, and every single person that walks into your gym, they better be maniacally focused on serving those people that right now, maybe they just started paying you today. They decided to walk in and become a member, or they're pretty much brand new, and all their friends that have never had a gym membership. Shift your focus enough to where you're doing everything in your power to cater to that group, and you'll win. You will always win. You will always be able to keep the lights on, the doors open. You will always be profitable if you're maniacally focused on that. If you're not, if you're too niche, like it's like I'm specialized. They're almost always struggling. If you're a 100% ninja gym, OCR gym, a lot of CrossFit boxes even. But the CrossFits, they've got, a lot of them gotten smart. They diversify enough and program in a way, because what happens is with specialty, with OCR and ninja gyms, you're seeing people hang from stuff all the time. It's freaking scary looking. The CrossFit optics are CrossFit Open, CrossFit Games. What'd you see in the Open? Muscle ups, first freaking round. That scares the shit out of people. Snatches, people walking around their hands. We know that's not the only thing that goes on in OCR, Ninja, and CrossFit boxes. That's what people see. And that's scary as hell. So you gotta diversify enough, and that's why we see a lot of those type of gyms bolting us on. We improve that. Here's the thing though. If you've gotten yourself into fitness, we know you've done that because you love serving people with the world's greatest drug. That's awesome. But we're here to help you be the best version of yourself and help you. We just got a lot of people with a lot of years of experience in fitness. And we have a good understanding of how to appeal to those people that have never been a paying member of your gym. That last question right there could be a 2-hour podcast, to be honest. It's like a mastermind class of techniques to cater and to, I just think all too often, to summarize, all too often, we love watching high level sports, but we watch those from the comfort of our couch. We watch amazing athletes doing amazing things. Well, those are people that they spent their whole life trying to perfect their sport. And it creates like, oh, I can't do that, but I love watching that person do it. With DEKA, we said, wait a second here. We're going to create a sport that's for everybody right now. Now, there's going to be those people that train like a maniac to run a sub 12 male, sub 13 female DEKA strong, or sub 30 DEKA fit for the men, sub 32 for the female. But it's going to meet everybody where they are right now. It's going to be the sport for everybody. That no. You're never going to watch this one from your couch. You can watch World Championships from your couch on the live stream, but this is going to be you go test, and Ryan Kent's going to come right after you on the same course. How freaking cool is that? That's DEKA.
But my next question was exactly on similar points. As and when, the affiliate and the brand name of DEKA grows in the near future, who do you think, or from which country do you think could be the next DEKA world champion? Now, currently, I do feel it might be from the US, but let's say over time, let's say 3 to 5 years down the line.
It'll naturally be, if you look at sports that are really good for specifically in their country, it's because it's got a rich history in that country. Kids that grow up in Brazil, they just grow up playing soccer. They're always going to have a good soccer team. We have basketball is everywhere all the time. There's courts everywhere. There's golf courses everywhere. There's there's certain sports. If you go to frickin' Austria and Italy and Switzerland, there's frickin' tons of skiers. It's not rocket science. You go to Colorado, there's tons of great skiers. So it's going to be probably going to be the UK, because they've been the most aggressive. UK and Canada has been the most aggressive. We have 6 or 7 affiliates in Canada. We have 3 or 4 in the UK. They're getting a head start in Spain. Spain is Spain, and just simply having one Desert Shield Fitness event, the UAE now has a slight head start on all other countries, because there's going to be athletes specifically. Really and truly, there's not a lot of difference. I mean, everybody is born with some level of athleticism. Some people have a little higher genetically VO2 max. Some people have more fast twitch fibers or slow twitch fibers. But there's a lot of similarities, really and truly. We could take 1,000 people from any country on planet Earth, and if you and I built a 6-month training program for a certain country, specifically for DEKA, guess what? It's going to translate. They're going to come, those 1,000 people could come after you and I train them for 6 months. Yeah. I don't care what country we pick from or what sport they're from, or even if they're not even in the sport. If we train them for 6 months and we bring them over to some U.S. events, they're going to do very, very well. So that's what's happening. In Canada, there's a lot of people training for DEKA now. In the UK, we just had our very first event at cross-training Clip the Roads, across the box. There's people training for DEKA now. So they're just getting a head start. So to answer your question, it'll probably be the 2 countries that'll compete and probably send the most athletes, let's say 3 countries, to the World Championships this year, at the end of the year, will probably be Canada, UK, and Spain.
While we're speaking about championship, I was listening to your podcast with April Lauren. What really stood out for me is that, you were talking to her about you running with your dad. And how you took the role and the position of the rectangle where you were running. And it was so emotional and so beautifully said. Yeah. As time goes by, how would you feel when you see the second generation of athletes running, let's say, with the parents? And how cool would that be?
So, man, I love this question so much. I've worked with youth athletes for many, many years. It's a part of my job part of my career. I don't make much money doing it, but it's one of the things that I do. I have the wonderful opportunity to work with a lot of companies and do a lot of things in the health and wellness space. That's what I get to do with DEKA. But working with the youth, I always say, I never blame, if I see a high schooler that's not on a good fitness journey, or, or maybe they're, maybe they're a pain in the ass in the classroom or in the community, or they're all a product of the parenting, or sometimes the lack thereof. There's not parents in that space. There's so many socioeconomic issues that happen. Yes. You never blame the kid. Some of them are crazy resilient, but they're doing this or that. It's all over the map. But the common theme that I've seen all benefit from, doesn't matter if it's a filthy rich kid that grew up in a mansion, or a kid that grew up, didn't have two pennies to rub together. I've seen the power in everybody in between. Parents, no guidance, tons of good guidance. Fitness is this thing in some form or fashion. You know, the low socio countries, you'll see a lot of running, for example, because it's just, if we've got a pair of shoes, in some cases don't even have shoes, we can run. But no matter where you're coming from, fitness brings us together, and it doesn't matter. Here's the thing. We take 1,000 kids, and we got some that are living in the parents have $1 billion in the bank. The kids from over here that don't have two pennies to rub together, and everything in between. If we go out on a run with them, or we put them in a DEKA workout, or we go out and just make them sweat together, this is the beautiful thing that fitness. What happens chemically in all their brains, I don't care where they're coming from, what happens chemically is the same. The dopamine rush, the endorphins, the endocannabinoids. Kelly McDonald, I had her on the Spartan Up podcast. She does a deep dive in this. It is magical what happens. Those 1,000 kids, I don't care where they're coming from. It's the same things happening. The beautiful mind opens up more. They want to treat each other better. They want to serve each other more. The better the business ideas. They don't want to go out and tear shit up or wreck things or cause harm to other people. In those moments, the mind is so wonderfully clear. So fitness brings us together as a planet. The more fitness we are all doing, the greater we are all going to be as a planet. So when you ask about the parents or serving the next in line, we need to, if you have the ability to serve anybody younger than you with fitness, you do it. You do it with passion and vigor, because it can help. It may be I always say fitness and comedy, man. We all need a little more comedy in our life, but fitness and comedy brings us together. We need to laugh and sweat together. So to answer your question, laugh and sweat together more, and get that heart rate up, and get those muscles pumping and build some lactic acid. Who can tell me what bad can come from that? So much good comes from that. So serve people with fitness. You all have if you encourage if you go out on a walk with your son or daughter, that will eventually turn into a run. If you go, when you stop along the way and you pick up some rocks and you do ground to overheads, guess what? We're working every joint and every muscle group in the body. And and on that mile run, that mile walk, we do that every time we see a rock. We pick it up and lift it above our head with our son or our daughter. We are putting a tattoo on. We're tattooing their brain with a wonderful moment, because guess what? On that 30-minute time together, we're becoming a stronger bonded family, and we're sweating together, and they're going to remember that. And they have a greater, statistically speaking, there's a much greater chance that they're going to keep fitness in their life forever. So that's the best answer I could give to that question, man. You're literally asking questions that we could do individual podcasts on. That's a beautiful one, man. That's the best question all day.
Yeah, and the next question is a hypothetical question, and this is based on some of the points that you said. Now, you are a third-generation athlete, right? Because you learned running with your dad, and he learned it from his dad. So the question what I wanted to ask is, you in your prime, your dad in his prime, and your grandfather in his prime, and in case if you have your son in his prime, who would win the 1 mile race the fastest? And you got to be completely honest.
Whoa, the 1 mile. Okay, that's going to come down to my dad and I. My wife she's a fast twitch. She was the district champ in the 100 meters. So, and it's funny, both of my kids got a little more of my wife's genetics. They're fat. They're super fast. Not that I was slow, but I wasn't like the serious sprinter. That's going to be between my dad. My dad and I, he held the CIF California, it was the California League, 1,200 meter, the 1,200 meter, it was 3 laps. he held the freshman record in California for a bit. In between his freshman and sophomore year, he had a very bad, I take that back. After his sophomore year, he had a bad motorcycle accident and had to have his kidney and spleen removed and was pretty much out of commission for a whole year. So it stole a little bit of his high school potential. But my gosh, he was such a good runner. He ran, I did not beat his freshman mile time. He ran like a 4:30 something as a freshman. I didn't beat that. I ran a 4:32 as a senior. So what he ran as like a freshman, sophomore, I didn't do it until I was a senior. And then I went on, I think the fastest I ever clocked my freshman year of college was a 4:17, and that was in practice. Had a scholarship at the University of North Texas, and then did not finish that out. After I think 3 semesters, if I remember right, I joined the United States Navy and kept, man, I never let running and strength training. I was a powerlifting champion in high school. Kind of weird, you know. You think miler, slow twitch guy, but I was a deadlift champion. So I always had a decent balance with strength endurance and aerobic engine. But I think my dad, if he would not have had that senior year stripped from him with his the motorcycle accident, I know damn good and well he would have ran a faster mile than me his senior year. But he was my hero. He would show me his medals. And that's why I always tell people, keep your medals, moms and dads, because it was, you can't fathom, and your kids don't even have the ability to tell you how important that is for them. My son comes in here and looks at my daughter, looks at they look at my trophies, and it motivates them. So keep those things. If you don't need them yourself mentally, keep them for your kiddos. Because my dad would show me those medals, and I would literally be ready to go out for a training run.
So I want to find out, Yancy, what is your favorite music genre? So let's say when you're going out for a workout or when you're going out for a run, what is the music genre that you prefer to listen to?
Oh my gosh. I'm a music nut. Just about all genres. My son and I were talking about this the other day. If I had one song, if I needed a PR, let's say I'm running a 5K or a mile, and I need a song to come on for the last like 3.5 minutes, I'm going to go with Eminem, Lose Yourself. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would pick that. Or Sympathy for the Devil, the Rolling Stones. Well, I'm going to pick 3. My Sympathy for the Devil is one of my absolute favorites. In the Jericho Mile, the movie, they play the song. It's just the acoustics. You don't have the audio. There's no lyrics. It's just that frickin' the instruments. It's amazing. I shouldn't say acoustics. It's just the instrumentation piece of it. Jericho, Sympathy for the Devil, so amazing. Crazy Train, Ozzy Osbourne. That was our walk-up song in football. We were walking down the football field. Oh. And of course, Lose Yourself, Eminem. That one I could run through brick walls when that song comes on. But as far as genres, when I'm going out to listen to live music, I'm going to give you some of the ones that probably a lot of you have heard of, but some of you maybe not. I love Chris Stapleton. I love the Lumineers, of Monsters and Men. A little unknown guy here in Austin, Texas called Bob Snyder. My wife and I's favorite musician of all time is probably Bob Snyder. I love, oh my gosh, I've seen the Stones in concert multiple times. Fleetwood Mac. Oh my gosh, dude, I'm a massive lover of music. I love, dude, we could go on. It's another hour-long conversation. If you follow me on Instagram, every time we onboard a new affiliate, I always attach a song to it. Every time, maybe a famous musician from that town or state, or some song that applies to that region. So I love music, and our director of marketing, Robin Leggett, nobody loves music more than her. She's on an 80s cruise right now, or she leaves tomorrow. But yeah, we all love music at DEKA. It's powerful, man. I call music good music is legal cheating. in a workout or a race, if you got some good music going, that's legal
Yeah,
cheating, my friend.
absolutely,
This was fun, dude.
100%
This was
agree.
a fun one.
Thank you so very much for doing this. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the listeners?
Shout out to the team. One more time, Robin. We don't exist. Everybody I mentioned here, we don't exist at the level that we are today without these people. Robin, director of marketing, Preston, director of sales, Arlene just helps with so many things. She's kind of a jack of all trades. For us, Brian Duncanson is, Brian was very important, starting in late 2020. He's been with Spartan since day one. So he's our liaison. He was basically our liaison, the guy that knew Spartan really well when we were having to lean in on Spartan. And now he's basically a general manager for us. But still, I think the key piece is he's a great liaison that keeps us meshed together. And he's a good numbers guy and helps us manage our business and helps us stay on a path to help us get profitable. Cynthia, oh my gosh, Cynthia recently came to our team full time. She's been with Spartan for 8+ years. She's another jack of all trades. She's our affiliate relations manager. And Nelson Diaz, again, came on the team early on in 2020 after Jared Cogswell. I'll talk more about Jared in just a second. But Nelson came on the team, and Nelson did so much to help us quickly gamify it with leaderboards. He's well-rounded. He's very tech-savvy. He help with our website, help with our leaderboards. But he also loves the event side of production and my good friend Jared Cogswell, who's no longer with us. But DEKA doesn't exist without Jared. Jared was the first person we brought on the team. Literally one day after having a conversation with Joe, the very next day, Jared was on a flight to Boston. And like I said, Jared and I together, he's just a salt of the earth good friend of mine. And we were able to, we put our heads together and we grinded and worked harder for 2 years than I've ever worked in my life. It was a passion. It was a project of just love for fitness. And DEKA does not exist with Jared. If he wasn't with us those first 2 years, I don't think we would have made it. Definitely, damn sure wouldn't be what it is today. Nowhere close. Jared was a massive, massive piece for everything that we do. So that was just a quick rundown of some of our team, the key pieces, and everybody at Spartan. We still lean in heavily on the entire Spartan brand, and especially for Joe De Sena, the most important piece of the equation, because he's fanatic about serving the world with fitness. And when most things were closing down and we were letting people go and everything was financially very unstable and we were losing freaking probably $75 million. And now we're on a much better path. We have COVID in the rearview mirror. Now, Joe allowed us to keep the lights on during that very, very, very challenging time. And that's why we exist, because he believed in us and allowed us to continue working our ass off to make it a reality. And now DEKA is alive and strong. So I appreciate just much love to the whole team, man. I'm just a small piece here. Just a big believer in everything that we're doing. A lot of times I just bring the big passion and the energy, and the team is the glue that helps keeps it all together. So, man, thank you for your time, brother. I really enjoyed this. Thank you. Hey, for all the listeners, thank you for taking the hour and change to tune in here. And please share this, because what I said, fitness is the world's greatest drug. And I think we cover some things in here that might help motivate a few people to get off their butt and say, you know what, I need to have more fitness in my life. So maybe this will be the motivator. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for sharing the message today.
Thank you so very much. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for having DEKA as well. For a 5'2" guy who's 64 kgs. Mm-hmm. Now I'm definitely getting into, some heavy lifting as well, and it's only because of you. So thank you so very much for that.
I love that, man. We are for all levels of fitness, brother, and for all sizes. I love seeing, I'm not a super big guy myself, and I love seeing people getting stronger, more well-rounded functional strength. Basic movements will help us. I'm 51 years old right now, and I'm just about as fit as I've ever been at 51, and that's a lot of that is because of a lot of DEKA testing. A lot of DEKA testing.
Thank you so very much, Yancy, for doing this. Really, really appreciate you taking your time.
You got it, my friend. We'll do it again one of these days.